Ndolibolulo usiphe ubulumko okwenza esenze ngasemadinga namazwi ethu namalwimi ethu athethe okufanelekileyo ngexesha. Kungabikho namnye esizimisa ukuba sibakhubekise namhlanje. Yesu siyathandaza. Amen.
Amen. I believe that the attendance register is circulating.
Speaker,
Councillor?
I don't think we are taking this council serious. When Councillor Poloapi was praying, Councillor James was speaking. Then we've got so many religions. Maybe he is an atheist. I don't know. Because he didn't respect the prayer. Well, we are just doing circus if we're going to behave like that. We must raise these things because they are going to be done next time again if we are saying no to them. I just wanted to raise that.
Councillor Dave, was it you who was speaking? And if it was you, can you please apologize to this council?
Yes.
Because I thought it's someone virtual. Yeah.
Speaker, yes, I was. My apologies. I didn't realize you were doing a prayer, asking Councillor now where he was.
Thank you. Apology accepted. Attendance register circulating. Application for leave of absence. I received an apology from Councillor Clotte Blanche. He's gonna join us virtual for this open council meeting.
Councillor Mhlana is still on his.
He's still coming, Councillor Mhlana?
Yes.
We have Councillor Ombira, maybe he's still on his way. I think he's coming. Then item number 4 is declaration of interest. Any councillor who want to declare? None. We moving to item number 5, statements and communication by the executive mayor and the speaker. I have none on my side. Executive mayor.
Speaker.
Thank you. Moving to item number 6, which is consideration of reports of non-delegated matters. Can the administration please take us through?
Section 1, Office of the Municipal Manager, item C/1/270/11/24. Appointment of Acting Director Planning and Development for the period 1 December 2024 to 31st December 2024, page 8.
Item 7, Madam Mayor.
Speaker.
Councillor Deputy Mayor.
I second. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item C/1/271/11/24. Appointment of Acting Director Financial Services 1 December 2024 to 28 February 2025, page 10.
Item 7. Executive Mayor.
Speaker.
Thank you.
Councillor.
Councillor Tsapaye.
Speaker, just a question. I believe that I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with the recommendation, but the question is the person who was the acting CFO, Mr. Felix Lotter, was the acting CFO, not so.
Yes,
And Mr. Lothar was the manager in governance and compliance.
yes,
And immediately when he went and acted as a CFO, there is Mr. Paulse who went in his position, not so. Okay. Now, if then Mr. Lothar is no longer an acting CFO, what is going to happen? Is he out or is going back to his position? What about Mr. Paulse? Just clarity so that we can all.
MM, can you help us?
Ah,
Thanks, Linda. Matter is not related to the item though, it's just, it's a question. Speaker, the appointment of Mr. Paulse is very clear. I was made aware on the issue of encoding in the system against the position of Phillips. It's very clear, it is in the terms of the regulations that the municipal manager may appoint official, for specific projects, which does not necessarily be in line with section 29. I think it's 31. So I am evaluating the project that was given to Mr. Paulse, and then I have to make a decision based on that. At this stage, I don't have out of my head how far the disciplinary hearings that have been dealt with, all of them, in terms of consequence management. I am aware, however, though, that for the challenge again on consequence management, as was raised yesterday by the meeting, to the extent that we have now until confirmed official declared audit. So I will evaluate Mr. Paulse's contract. I think is ending on end of November. Mr. Paulse is not appointed as an acting manager governance compliance. He's appointed specifically for a specific task and project.
Thank you, MM. Councillor Sethi.
Thank you very much, Speaker, to everyone that is here. When I was going through these two appointments, I've noticed that one appointment, I think the one before this one, is different from this in terms of Mr. Zindlu, sorry to say the name, was given up until 28th of February, but the other one, it seems to be 1 month. Is it maybe because I'm not familiar with this extension of the 7th appointment? Someone should assist. Thank you.
MM.
Thanks, Speaker. Before that, no, I wanted Speaker to, I was seeking clarity because what we know as councillors is that Mr. Paulse was on the position of governance and compliance. That is why I was asking that question. Well, if he was not there, and it's so unfortunate that as legislators, we are not taken abreast about the appointments and we don't know who's who. You see, so I think in future, we must be able to understand who is so in a particular position. You see, we must not scratch and find in the corridors that so-and-so is in a particular position, whereas he is not in that position. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Papai. MM.
Thanks, Speaker. I'm just trying to quickly get to that, what is the legislation. Just to deal with the first issue, which has been asked by Councillor Sethi, while I'm getting to the legislation. It is so because we have dealt with the shortlisting and interviews of the Director Planning and Development. We're expecting to get the assessment report by end of next week. So meaning that process looks like will be completed for the next council meeting. I think it's on the 12th. So on that basis, then we asking for Fezile Maki to act for the additional month. We will only determine at the end of this, on the 12th of December in that council meeting, if a candidate that will be successful on the planning and development would be able to start in January. If that candidate starts in February, then we'll bring the item to council with that item of the appointment, explaining to council as to why we then have to get somebody else to act. So that's the reason. With regard to the CFO position, we are only doing the shortlisting today, not tomorrow, today, 22nd. Yeah. So we're doing the shortlisting today. The interviews are scheduled sometime next week. But also with the information I have based on the applicants, on the CFO position, I anticipate the challenge, hence where the discussion, I think, with the administration, myself and Tanya, and then to rather say to be safe, was it you? I must not quote you wrongly, or Luvoyo. So we rather to be safe and say it must be up until that period. I think the only thing that must say it does say until the position is actually filled. So that's a difference. Speaker, let me clarify this thing for the last time. I don't know, but if council is requesting me if we've made appointment at administrative level, that I must inform them. I have no problem, I have no objection. In fact, in other municipalities where I've worked, all those new staffs are introduced, they are actually put in front here to be introduced. So I have no problem, I can do it that way. But let me read Regulation 30. Appointment of staff on fixed term contract. Despite, now that's a key word, despite the Regulation 29, a municipality may, in exceptional circumstances and within its administrative and financial capacity, appoint a person or a person on a fixed term contract without adhering to the procedures and processes as contained in this chapter. The application of sub-regulation 1 is subject to the provision of section 198B of the Labour Act. So Mr. Paulse is appointed exactly in terms of that section. It is unfortunate that I never communicated. So those that have actually informed the councillors on the corridor, it's a pity. They should have asked me, I would have explained to them as well, So that is the situation. But going forward, if council is requesting that all staff actually inform council, I will do that because I don't want this thing to be a Mr. Paul's issue alone. It's the first time that I'm also being asked about an administrative employee who is not a Section 56 employee. Thanks, Speaker.
Thank you very much. Councillor Olivier. Thank you. Can we move?
And we're moving to section 4, community services, C/4/2/3/11/24, seasonal readiness report for 2024-2025, page 13.
Item is moving. Councillor Dave.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I've just got some questions. If we can go to page 17. It's got split student raids from 8 o'clock at night till 2 in the morning at Central Beach. That part of the raid is actually at Kinbrogi along the airport road. And at Central Beach, they normally have the daytime venue from, I think it's 10 in the morning, running through to. So the information here probably needs to be corrected. If we can just go to page 17.
Noted. Item 7. Councillor Alfier.
With the recommendation.
Any second? Councillor Tibrain. Second. Thank you.
Moving to addendum 1 of the open meeting, item under section 3, corporate services, C/3/257/11/24, report on policy and enforcement regarding spas or shops and related businesses, page 3.
The item is serving, and can the please take us through a summary of this report?
Thank you for that, Speaker. Apologies that this item has ended up discussion, and that's why I've asked Parky to come. And I've asked him to coordinate because this is not only for Bitou local municipality, it's got intergovernmental matter which we have to, as you are aware, the president has outlined that the spa shop must comply within 21 days. So what is the implication of this now after the statement of the president? Do we have a policy, in order to enforce this? Was say after 21 days we must enforce. Do we have a policy? Do we have the bylaw? So I then called the urgent meeting late Friday last week, the key internal players, and thank you to the staff for their availability. All of them. They did manage to have a meeting with other stakeholders, SEPs, the district, and everyone. So this item is just to give feedback to council, because what I said to Andile Namdi and Paki, I'm afraid that at some point we're going to be seen administratively that we're running ahead. And I had a discussion with the deputy mayor as well, and she felt that it's best that we actually brief the councillors, because we're also doing videos of councillors to try and speak about this matter. And because at the end of the day, the landlord, when he or she does not want the facility, the matter does not affect councillor, be reported to the ward councillor. So if you have 1 minute left for me, I can just ask the team to just add on anything that I'm doing.
Good morning, Speaker and councillors. The process that we have undertaken, as the MMF alluded, we had a multidisciplinary team meeting that we had, where we were tasked to assess, one, the policies that the municipality is having, as well as the adequacy of those policies and other regulations, to ensure that we are able to enforce compliance, and also what are we going to do to make sure that we meet the target of 1 day. I must say that councillors, Bitou municipality has been ahead before the president's announcement when it comes to the issue of spaza shops. One, earlier this year, council has approved what is called the home shop policy, which speaks directly to the spaza shops. After it was approved, planning department has surveyed all the spaza shops. And in their survey, just before the announcement, we picked up that there were spaza shops in Kwanuktula, 28 of them did not apply with planning. And then others, 28 also applied. And we also find that there was about 37 in New Rising that were surveyed, but none of them had applied at the time. So I'm just taking the bigger number. What the mapping was done was to check where are they, and those that have applied will be turned into green. So you can go to Google Map and you can see where the spaza shops are. And this information is shared with SAPS, is shared with the district municipality, and we collaborate the data. And once the data is collected, we use, and then we have one particular data. After the president announcement, we then went to what we call the public awareness campaign, where we were meeting the stakeholders, the home shop or the shop owners, the landlords, as well as the street vendors, because this is not only about spaza shop, but about anyone that handles food and sells food. So our target was to ensure that they are aware what is required, they know where they can get the information and where they can submit their applications. Then we've rolled out all the CDWs in our areas, We also brought out information so that it can be shared with councillors and communities, that they are also part of the program. We started in Ward 1 and in Kurland. There was an attendance. I must say, one of the risk factors, as the MM has raised, is the matter of the landlords. You'll be aware, councillors, 2 years ago in Bitou, something of this nature started, and there was a conflict between communities where landlords were preventing actions being taken by other community members. At the time, it was those who want to be chased out, which was turning into a xenophobic type of unrest. So we wanted to guard against that, to speak to landlords, to ensure landlords are aware what is required. Because landlords can front, and that's what has been discovered, that landlords are fronting on behalf of foreign nationals. And the other confusion that is there is that we have different foreign nationals that are within our space. Those who are here with the business visa, visiting visa, working visa, and so on. And then those who are asylum seekers. So in this group, we have more asylum seekers who are running the shops. So there are certain laws that are regulating these foreign nationals. So one of the communities also to be aware what it is that they need to be aware of and the action that the municipality is taking. One of the key announcements we've made is that all applications must be submitted by the 27th of November to give the municipality a space to process the application. Therefore, they need to have a business license. They need to have the approval from planning. So there are 2 applications that they must submit. And after that, this information will be verified with SAPS and Immigration and Home Affairs. So once this whole process is done, by the 6th of December, we are expecting that law enforcement will take the data that the municipality has collated and go to every spaza shop that does not comply and make sure that those shops are closed. We do not expect any negotiation after the 6th of December. All shops that do not comply must be closed until their compliance. Now, there's also a draft bylaw on township economies that COPTA has circulated. And that draft bylaw also seeks to empower a South African-run spaza shops, as well as how we're supposed to, as a municipality, because you will know that in the past there was no regulation. I think Councillor Olivier will know that at some point she even submitted something in relation to this particular matter. Now, there is a quota system that the municipality must use to determine how many shops can be open in a particular area. So that's what we must now do going forward. But our key concern and the risk factor is how communities are handling the matter, because they see in social media certain old videos, they see things that happened 3 years ago, but they are resurfacing now. Then they are seeing what is happening in other towns, and they are not taken through. So that's why we were doing the public awareness campaigns, to ensure that we minimize that particular risk. And that risk, it relates a lot when it comes to landlords. It is also, councillors, after the what you call the announcement of the president, we have seen a spike of application being received. Unfortunately, I would have put it in the screen if I was allowed. They are in KwaNokuthula. We've received about 40 applications so far, which is Ward 6 and Ward 5. And Kolweni, Pantry, and Horizon, we've also received about 40 applications. In Kranzuk, we've received 14 applications. In Kurland, we've received 26 applications. And in Vedet Rift, we've received 5 applications. So those are the applications that are with planning department. LED is going to issue what we call temporary business license, while the planning department will issue the compliance in terms of land use management. That will take time. It will happen maybe around January or so. Hence, the temporary license will be issued now as a business license, pending the final approval by planning. Unfortunately, 21 days to process all these things will be shorter, but there are certain things that we can do within the 21 days to make sure that we comply. I must say that Bitou has been ahead. with other municipalities. We've been on the ground. We're working with the multidisciplinary teams that are on the ground. District municipality and law enforcement and SAPS continue with the ad hoc operations that to check food safety. On that, I think that's the update I wanted to give. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Mbali. Councillors. Here's the report. Councillor Dave.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm glad to hear we've made such good progress on this dealing with the sponsorship. But Mr. Mbali might remember me saying in council when he was council that we need to actually register all businesses, not just the sponsorships. Other municipalities do, and it is actually a requirement that we should be registering all businesses. That will help us identify gaps in the market if people want to open up businesses in the Bitou area, but it will also help our finance department to determine whether people are paying the correct rates and the correct tariffs for their businesses, because we know that the financial is make sure businesses are being. I think once we've dealt with this and have this in place, we need to extend this to all businesses, just for a license. It's going to be a massive process because there are a lot of businesses, but I think it's something that we need to look at going forward. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you.
Speaker.
Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, it's quite heartwarming to hear that we have been proactive. We all know this is an issue that is affecting us very heavily on the ground, because as Mr. Mbali has said, there is always these contrary views within the communities, and for us to then balance it and make sure that our communities are safe. You know, because I think the biggest issue is the safety of the supplies. We don't want to suffer a situation where something that could have been prevented happens. As we've seen, this issue has been highlighted recently in the media, not just local media, it's been an issue nationally. And I think South Africa has been waiting. We are responsible to protect our citizens. And for me, I think the key issue moving forward will be, how are we going to handle the issue of the landowners? Because remember, that also affects on our service deliveries, living extra units on the stands. We've at some point had discussions about how we will work it into our indigenous policies so that we can at least, you know, have some way of control over the matter in terms of our revenue enhancement. Secondly, I do feel that what is going to be quite tricky is, as you've mentioned, the issue of how many spaza shops will be allowed within a certain vicinity. Because you can already hear from the numbers, it's going to be a challenge. And I think from the start, we must then try our best to stick to those guidelines and the regulations. It will not be easy, but I think if we create some type of formula and consistency, especially in the approach that you guys have got now, seems like you are consistent. You've really thought this through very well. It seems to be effective what you guys are doing. So I think that would be the issue moving forward. As a ward councillor, I have already received from planning to make some comments on a few of those applications. For me, the important thing will be to have a session, especially with our ward committees and planning, and then compliance, you know, so that we can also take them through the process and they can also understand. Because in some wards, they are very proactive. They do alert us on certain things, and they can also take the word further to the community. But I would greatly propose this, and it's good progress so far.
Thank you. Councillor Tsabai.
Thanks, Speaker. Speaker, the report that we received, we thank the report. It's a very extensive report, but Speaker, this is not understood by our communities the way Mr. Mbali is putting it. First of all, there is one thing that our people are saying. Well, there are these forms, and foreigners can't even complete these forms. These forms are completed by South Africans. Secondly, there's a notion of saying if you are going to do business as a foreigner in South Africa, you must have 5 million. I don't know whether I'm putting it correctly. The other thing is the bone of contention to our communities is these spaza shops, when these people are selling these goods, whether food items or whatever, they are clustering them next to each other. And the investigation that came in is that the chemicals that are used by these spaza shops some of the chemicals were banned in South Africa. And some of the chemicals that are used by these spaza shops are of agricultural nature. Because really, I'm living in a community where a bypasser will say he is selling a chemical to kill rats, a chemical to kill cockroaches, and it is just in a plastic bag, you see? And in those shops, again, those chemicals are put closely to the chips. There is something that, how I then understood it, is that Comrade Frank Chikane, they spread this chemical in his clothes. That is the apartheid regime. He was lucky because he was an adult, but it made him, he almost died because of those chemicals. And it's the chemicals that are in these spaza shops today. Now, bear in mind, now have a picture of a young child buying a packet of chips where that chemical is all over that shop. When he opens that packet of chips, that chemical is there. Even as adults, when you are eating chips, you lick your fingers. Now it attacks the child there and there. So communities are really wondering, because now as government, we are saying we will come with forms, let's regulate these spaza shops, but we are not going there. What is supposed to be controlled? You see, we can regulate them, can reduce them, but the bone of contention is that, again, an asylum seeker comes to South Africa and open a spaza shop. That one person doesn't even have a single spaza shop. He has 4 in a row. And these people come in and give each other these spaza shops. And those spaza shops are deadly for our people. How are we then going to be able to curb what is happening inside those spaza shops, even if they have been given the green light to operate? So I'm just concerned about the activities that are happening inside those spaza shops. Speak. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Speaker. We've had various meetings in Kranshoek on the spaza shop issues. And maybe it's because Kranshoek is a little bit smaller than the other spaces that we can contain more of the issues, but
a lot of the challenges coming through, yes, about the food, but also the crime issues that are going on around the sponsor shops. What I do want to say, because I normally have these meetings with SEPs, and I appreciate this movement from the municipality side to do this, because we have strengthened SEPs with their issues. We had a meeting on Monday and we actually had 3 shops closing. First, because they're not following the criteria that was laid down by the municipality. And secondly, because of the criminal activity. So SEPs appreciates it because now they have something to stand on to go into the shops and all of that. So I'm in agreement with everything that my colleagues have said here pertaining to sponsor shops. I just wanted to add that it is actually working for us in Kranshoek at the moment, and we will be rolling out this strictly. It gives everybody a leg to stand on. With that, I would like to second this. Thank you.
Councillor Mangaba.
Thank you, Speaker. With the risk of sounding like a broken record, allow me to weigh in as well. I must say it's quite heartwarming, like the executive mayor has mentioned earlier, that this is actually tabled here and now. We know in our community groups, this is all that's spoken about. And again, we must know that inspections, it's not something that's new within this municipality. It's something that we regularly do. But I think perhaps we are not communicating it enough. And there's a wild assumption that everyone is on Facebook and on the website and in the groups, that we are no longer using the public participation office for bleating and information sharing in the communities. I think now just to be ahead, because now we can see that there's actually videos that are circulating that are actually scary, that are getting our communities on a rather uncomfortable position. Hence, you would see these informal meetings that are held where they're trying to now take the law into their own hands, because there's not much information that is coming from our end where these things are concerned. If you look at just this document on relevant legislations, it covers so much ground in terms of what we are hoping to achieve as the municipality, because over and above regulating these home shops by policy or bylaw, it also covers the issue around the land use, which then again speaks right back to our revenue enhancement plan. Because at the moment, we are councillors that are actually sitting with indigent applications that are way above the threshold per financial year, which then the PwC exercise that we are actually doing in identifying which properties are actually used for business and those that are used for residential. Now, this information also will actually help us with regards to billing them, right? Which would then mean we are actually minimizing the manipulation where indigent application is concerned, and we are able to deviate that or divert rather that budget to where it's required the most. But then over and above that, it covers point 3 about the Immigration Act, because for the longest of time, when the community is actually rising against illegal immigrants, you find that it is also land and homeowners that are actually protective of these people. Now, it's clear they also have a responsibility to play in ensuring that whoever they take into their property is somebody with documentation, which then, it covers so much just that. It's just what we're actually focusing at, which is the regulating spaza shops. But over and above that, teaching our people, and especially the street vendors, as well as people who are actually selling food at schools, as well as taxi ranks, about the issue around the issue of dying kids and all of that. Because ideally, I know there's information that is being disseminated around that. It's all based on expired food or food that is not meant to be ingested and. Now that they realize there's actually an illegal pesticide, that is actually being sold. And we know the reason why people resort to that is that we have rodents in the township now. We have bigger rats that cannot be killed by a rat X. Hence, are actually going now for the illegal route that they're not aware that it's actually illegal. Now, you don't have to have ingested that. By virtue of it being around your food or around you, you could be sickly. And because kids are tiny, they are susceptible to actually sickness and even death as a result. Meaning now we need to craft a way, a checklist for these inspections that over and above checking the existence of licensing, checking whether or not the food is expired, they need to go the extra mile of ensuring that there isn't cluttering like Councillor Tabaya already mentioned, that the aisles are as they should, that there is no contamination of contents before they are sold. So over and above just showing up and chucking out expired goods, we also need to actually have a record of strikes that each spaza had, so that we can't close them for just 7 days, and then after everything is in order, they are open. And then to find that they transgress again in the next quarter. I think a conversation that also must be made is that after certain spikes, these spaza shops must be closed. Because now you do realize that they are quite aware now of our inspections, that when we go, such expired goods and goods that are not meant to be sold are no longer on shelves. You come 2 months later, you find them there. Now we can't be harboring the very same people that are transgressing over and over again. I think beyond that, we need to tighten our rules where the tradership is concerned. Beyond that, I welcome the report and the recommendations that it actually comes with.
Thank you. Councillor Sanjeev?
I'm standing down.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor?
As much that, thank you, Speaker, as much that we have already voted and seconded this item of the recommendation, I would love that all. I was not stuck with the fact that when President made the announcement, I was excited, but stuck with the fact that how do we ensure that people still at the end will be served after we've made all these regulations? Because by the time these things were coming, we were all of the idea that people need to be served, they need a service. Having a business mindset, my point was, what is it that the government is prepared to do to ensure that people are not lacking the service that they were getting from this spaza shop? Whether the food were expired or whatever, that is for us to know. And even then, some cases, they were aware of that. But because they were in need of that service that is coming closer to them, they will even go to a point of being in an urgent matter to go and still go and buy. There's something that says that they are bringing a township economy. The government is bringing a township economy. They are working with it. Now, I wanted to know, is there anything that Mr. Mbalu can, for instance, in his own research and also combining this document, he can advise us in the sense of township economy? Because in the midst that the spaza has been closed, can we allow the landlord to be the one that is being given the opportunity to run the spaza? Because in the midst of this, people, they are looking for an opportunity to be the one that they are substituting that space that is being left vacant. So I want to know, what is it us as this municipality, as we have already started this thing of regulating and ensuring that people are safe, what is it that as our municipality that we are prepared to go further by ensuring that our locals are the ones that are occupying that space? And secondly, if then we are moving away those people that they are not meeting regulations, is there a way that we can incorporate our locals? Because the landlord will always find that it's our locals. Can they continue? What is the type of support that we can bring and ensure instead to locals and also people filling that space in? Because I'm also worried that we'll do what we're doing, but people will be left frustrated. Let's say Uboxa is far away. Not all, after all, our communities, they've got an institution like a service like Uboxa or USAVE. What will then us will be doing to ensure that people are not left frustrated? I don't know whether it's a topic for another day or something we can think about, but I would love to know when the president put this and all of us will take up, what is then the solution when it comes to that? How do we ensure that our people, they are occupying that space that they are crying loud of, that they want to see themselves to be the spaza owners? How do we assist them? Because I don't think that these shops came just for the sake of coming. They saw the need and they took the space that our locals couldn't stand firm on. We used to have spazas that we know, but somehow they just collapsed. So I want to know, in this township economy that the government is talking about, how fast are they bringing in that, so that when we go to the communities, we can also still have a solution to talk, because now it's now that must go to the communities with the thing that has been declared by the national government. What is then that we need to bring also as a solution? Thank you.
I did want the topic, might not be sufficient to just bring the background and the steps of it. But I think firstly I've covered most what the councillor said. On this issue, Deputy Mayor, I didn't target touch that the policy or draft bylaw now. Because by co-opter, now that has been issued. I think it was issued on Tuesday or Monday. 19th, when was the 19th? Yeah, it's issued on the 19th. It actually now forces us to even put up a quota in terms of the spaza shop. If saying gonna put up, we want the 10 spaza shop, we have 5. So that's something that they are true. And looking at this application that we are having now, how are we going to deal with the issue of giving approvals for spaza shop? So going forward, we'll look at approvals in relation to who are the South Africans that want to open a spaza shop, SRB, the foreign people, and also take those matters into consideration. So it is covered on that was issued on the 19th site. I thought for the purpose of this meeting, we just bring about up to date in council in terms of where we are. So we will bring an item sometime next year in terms of how we're gonna make that.
Thank you. Councillor Ngaba?
Thank you. And it's true, Speaker, what the DF is. However, I don't think it would be safe and conducive for us to actually dwell on this item. I think those are important conversations we need to make at strategic level for LED, because if you've noticed at stretch sessions, LED is the only space that does not come with a clear strategy where this is concerned. So perhaps it's a topic that we need to explore around township tourism when we get to stretch level, so that from there we are able to join our heads and actually come up with solutions for our communities, and solutions that are actually community specific, because one community differs from the next in terms of the economic landscape and. So it is a conversation worth exploring at strat level. For now, I think we are comfortable with taking the recommendations as they are.
Thank you very much. The item was proposed by Councillor Dave and seconded by Oliver.
No, Councillor.
Councillor, come.
By your proposed.
Oliver second. Okay, sorry, councillors. It is. It is. Moving to the next item. We are moving now back to the agenda. Item number 7, urgent matters submitted by the municipal manager, none received. Consideration of notice of motion, none received. Consideration of notices of questions, none received. Item number 10, consideration of motions of exigency, none received. That brings us to item number 11, which is in committee matters.
Speaker, before we get to in committee, since this is actually an open platform, would I ask the accounting officer to actually give a bit of information it will empower the ward councillors in the space, but most importantly, it will actually also put a word out there to the communities with regards to the arrangements that are now they are now a consideration we are making with regards to the fines around the tampering with boxes. Because in as much as that decision was taken in council, there's actually eventualities that were not considered. Now at portfolio level, we have set and tabled an item that speaks to considering the merits of situations. So I would rather he actually explains it just so we empower all those who don't sit in finance and cooperative portfolio and the public.
Thank you very much. MM?
No, thanks, Speaker. Maybe procedurally, because it's a matter that, as I'm sitting here as well, I'm saying, should it be delayed until the 12th of December? Because some of the people that came actually said, I anticipate a decision will be taken on the 12th of December. Just to give guidance, maybe Councillor Mangaba must try and raise the matter if the Speaker will allow it as a motion of exigency verbally. But let me say what is happening before he then decides if he's going to do that. So Council has taken a policy in terms of tampering with the electricity meters. So if you are found that you have tampered with electricity meters, then the first time you're supposed to come in and pay, I think it's 5,300 now, pay that 5,300, And in the policy, does not give a discretion. So it talks about payment of that. So when we look at the policy and read the policy, you pay the 5,300 and then you get reconnected. But what the councillor is saying, we're dealing with reality issues, which I think all of you as councillors are actually aware within your ward of not only economic downturn, issues that community members are facing. And let me be honest about this matter. Ordinarily, this matter will then go to Mr. Zintu, and Mr. Zintu will then look at the circumstances and make recommendations to the CFO. The CFO will then look at the matter and then sometimes just inform the accounting officer that I have made this decision. The administrative justice matter, or they will refer to the accounting officer. The accounting officer will look at it and say, look, the grounds are actually, I'll make an example in Nice. There's a woman had a child that was on this, oxygen gas, So unfortunately, the people who are staying behind house, the ones that tripled the electricity, and she was not aware because she's an elderly woman. So the municipality found out that, and then it came to my desk. Then I made a call in the decision to say they don't have the 500 because both of them are actually on the elderly and the disability kind. They don't have the 5,000 to pay immediately. In fact, I even made the decision to write it off, and then I informed council in the next council meeting. Now, what Councillor Manglaba is raising is something that can be addressed, but I want to inform councillors administratively, we are all shaken. You will know the reasons. People are scared of making decisions now. Because if you make that decision to give this person and say, pay this 5,300 over 6 months, is the CFO, is Andre, is the MM going to be charged for that? Because he acted contrary to the policy. So that's the only thing that I think we have to resolve. And I think we are not necessarily adults enough, but matured enough as leaders to actually deal. That's why I'm saying maybe Councillor Manglava should raise this point as a matter of exigency, and this council must just vote that matter must be delegated to CFO or or to Andres Zintu to be able to use that discretion, because those people, although they were in the wrong, they are actually now suffering. There's a child that is writing matric, as the mother came to explain to me, So it's a matter that really council should just give us guidance to say, look, we allow you to actually discretion in this matter. And then the issue of the policy can be amended later on to actually take into account the practical situation on the ground now. The issue is the fear now. Is this thing going to come back and haunt me that I'm after this? Thanks.
One Peel?
Just through you, Madam Speaker. I don't know whether you are aware that the matter has in fact served in the Portfolio Committee.
Finance, yes.
And that the Portfolio Committee meeting has suggested that it be taken up as policy, that the discretion be given to the CFO decision to write off those debts in certain instances. So if you feel that it is still necessary for a motion of exigency, I would support it, but I think procedurally we are on track to actually implement it correctly.
Sorry, Speaker, the only challenge is that decision of the Portfolio Committee is only going to serve in the next MECO and in the next council.
Yeah, you can speak.
On the 12th of December. So that's why I was asking that question. That decision, if cannot be put here, I mean, we don't have to be technical about it, even do it as a motion of exigency. But if the Speaker allows, maybe let's be procedural and allow it as a motion of exigency, because so that, see, we don't come back again and say, no, this item was not in the agenda. So let's allow it in this meeting as a motion of exigency, because already the committee took that decision. But now to wait, it means those people now are waiting until 12th of December in order to be connected. So that was the only reason I thought must be considered.
I'm taking it up.
If it's Speaker, please, if it's considered, will we be able to see the items from the portfolio meeting? Was Councillor Swart, Councillor Bitou was talking about writing off debt. That's another story altogether. Will there be penalties involved? There's a lot of things we need to discuss.
Yeah.
No, it will save. What will happen now, automatically, all those requests that have come for reconnecting will then come as an item in the Section 80 Committee of Finance for the CFO to report that 4 people came and then we reconnected them and they give the reasons as well that they actually apply their mind on in terms of that, but he was trying to put reconnection, not writing off.
That's the one that.
The write off will then have to come fully as an item on a specific matter. Yeah, so here's the item that went to the Portfolio Committee for the benefit of everyone, which I would put the recommendation as such as well to council.
And Speaker, for the benefit of those who are actually laying their eyes on the item for the very first time, we would know that we had embarked on a, inspection in communities. So we've realized as a municipality that there's a greater demand and a greater use of power.
Point of order, Speaker. Speaker, I think we must do it procedurally. We can't just jump to that item. So Councillor Manglava must do it the right way. Let's not just go to that item.
There's a motion of exigence.
Motion of exigence, yeah.
Yeah, a councillor should know. A councillor should know that when an item was not in the agenda, it must be raised as a motion of exigence and that it must be voted into so that to carry on. We can't just jump.
And then talk about.
Yeah.
Councillor Manglaba, so you will submit it formally as a motion of exigence so that it can be tabled in the next council meeting.
Speaker. The matter must be tabled today as a motion of exigency.
Vote for.
Then make a discretion to say you agree as a verbal motion of exigency. I think, Tanya, they were flighting it in order to reflect what is the decision of the Section 80, but not to deal with the item. I think Councillor Manglaba raised the matter, but it does not affect Councillor Manglaba, but only perhaps I think it looks like we have disabled him. He raised the matter, and Speaker, we must give an opportunity to put it
As a motion.
as a motion of exigency. Any other councillor?
Pompeo?
Madam Speaker, may I just read from the rules of order for the motion of exigency for the clarity of all. That is Rule 42. And 42.1 says a member may direct the attention of council to any matter which does not appear on the agenda and which no previous notice has been given, by stating briefly the subject of the matter and without comment thereon moving that the motion to which the attention has been directed be considered forthwith as a matter of exigency. Point 2 says such motion is there herein referred to as a motion of exigency. And point 3, and this is the important one, if such motion is seconded and carried by a majority of the members present, the mover shall be permitted without notice to bring the matter under their consideration by way of motion of question.
If you look at what has happened now, Speaker, Councillor Manglaba, touch number 1 in terms of explaining what is the thing about, and then Councillor Hillner supported it. So the only thing that we have to formalize, Councillor Manglaba, to say what I've just said, I'm putting it as a motion in terms of Rule 42, and then you vote that you accept it, that it must serve. I think.
Councillor Manglaba? Can you take us to the motion of exigency?
Have we voted it or not? It must be tabled.
No, you just asking it that it must be considered as a motion.
Speaker, could I move that the item around the consideration of the eventualities that were not considered when the policy around or decision that was taken by council around the tempering of electricity meter boxes be actually tabled as a motion of exigency.
Thank you, councillors. The motion is 7. Pompeo?
Speaking in terms of Rule 42, I think Councillor Manglaba is correct. I would second that motion, that the motion be accepted.
Thank you. The motion is proposed and been seconded. Let's vote for all of Madam Mayor?
Supported, Speaker. I support the recommendations.
Thank you.
We support.
Support. All of the councillors support the motion of exigence.
What happens procedurally now is that these items. Section.
Oh, my God.
May go and go. Thank you, Councillor.
Speaker and councillors, you will pardon me wanting to actually pull this item higher up in the list of priorities. In the previous months, my office and my house has been inundated with people walking in with various scenarios where this policy is concerned. It's a decision that was taken to council that with regards to tempering, there must be fines. And as a result, now we met with situations that we actually never really discussed in council. And it's situations that some are actually very threatening to people's health. Some it's situations that were beyond the homeowner's control. take one incident where an elderly person was actually staying at her daughter's house in Tsitsikamma just so she can recover. Upon her return, she learned that the person that was minding the house had bypassed, but now she was the one bearing the brunt. And we actually collated the necessary information to ascertain whether or not that statement is true. One is actually living on meds that are supposed to be refrigerated. One is willing to actually pay for their own food because they own it. However, their salary does not allow them to actually pay it once off. You know, I do not think these eventualities or these situations are actually unique to my ward. Now, the item was crafted about so it may enable these councillors as well to actually consider these considerations. We are not the ones making the decision. What we are saying is we are giving the power and the onus to either the CFO or the manager at revenue to actually be the one that actually takes discretion based on the situation at hand, whether or not it does meet the merit of the arrangement to be done. And the reason why I am so adamant that this must be tabled here and now is that I know already there's people waiting in the queue, hoping whether or not this would actually have a solid outcome, and waiting for it up until December. It might have communities turning against this where this is concerned, and it might render our people disservice. Hence, I am going with the recommendations.
Thank you, Councillor Ompia.
Just for clarity, perhaps for maybe watching, this does not take away the fines. It just gives a discretion to the CFO or his nominee in whatever confirmation that would be. But it does not change the facts. It just gives a discretion. And the CFO in his explanations to us repeated a lot of the type of issues that Councillor Mangaba has just pointed out now, where there are definitely merits, but it chops off his hands, chops off the hands, it does not leave discretion. So what we are trying to do here is to give that discretion to be fair. It does not mean that people that are tampering willingly and with bad intent are going to be scot-free. I think it is just a matter of balance.
Speaker? Speaker, just I don't know whether I've understood it correctly. Was it the only case that led to this item being served in that portfolio? Now I'm hearing councillors saying there are more applications and so on. Was it the only case that happened?
No, there's not only one case. There's quite a lot, actually. People that came directly from my office is about 11. People that have been turned off directly at income, I think it was 4 or 5, which were told that the MMC is unfortunately regime. With about 15 in total that we are aware of now. But as we do the revenue management, I'm sure we then actually pick it up. And some of them through the TDI process, they will pick it up, these matters. So it was not an isolated incident of one person. I think.
What are the other cases? I've heard this one of this old woman. What are other cases? Just one.
So they differ. That's why we're saying the discretion must be given to because one, for example, the lady is a landlord and has given her house to a national foreigner to rent a house. And this lady, unemployed, now she's actually employed as a EPWP in the municipality. Her contract is ending now in December. So now she has to pay the 5,300. We know how much is the salary of EPWP worker, taking into account now that there's an income that she has not declared as well. So the CFO will evaluate now you are on indigent, you have not declared this income, you're only declaring it now because you have tempered. So the CFO then might say, you have actually misled us in terms of indigent application. On that basis, we're not giving you. But each situation will differ. So want to be able each situation in terms of that. That's why we give the discretion to. So it's different scenarios for each, but in the main, the people are earning far lesser than the 5,300 that they have to pay upfront now. The other scenario is, but the person says that the municipality came and the municipality disconnected and connected illegally temporarily because there was no stock at stores for the meter, But we've dealt with that matter. I mean, fortunately, Felix is aware because from 2013 until 2017-18 on the revenue announcement, we anticipate that should not be the case now because the municipality has stock. We have confirmed that, but people are still using the old argument, which got some other officials into trouble at that time to say, no, it was the municipality who did this illegal because they said they didn't have stock. So it's different situations. That's why it's going to be important to make a decision on a case-by-case basis, not use a discretion. So each and every person will have to make a case-by-case.
As I said,
Yes, I just want to add on what the MM is saying, on what Shufib asking. I think Director felt the MM all came to their offices and said, one of the resident in Konoktola was their thing was suspended because the municipality was saying that they were tempering. But when they explained to me, they say their meter box was not working. And when they called customer care, the teams, electricians, went to the pole. I don't know what they did there. Then after they left, they found out that the electricity is not moving. You see, it's not, I'll count for the months. Then after maybe 6 months, when they pick up that those people are not buying electricity, they said to them they were tempering. So that was the other case that I came to report to the municipal manager. So, yeah.
So,
Okay.
so Speaker, why we are bringing this item upfront is because of the restriction of meter boxes that is ending now.
No, Speaker. You've got people, and as Councillor Setia said, is one of them now. That also went to Councillor Manhava and to his house. Those people don't have electricity now, as we are sitting here, all of us, because they tampered with the box. They need to pay 5,000. Their salary, the come close 5,300, even half. So the company now. Item 7 in the portfolio committee, it was going to go to MECO, it was going to go to council on the 12th of December. If council says this item is not important to serve now, then the municipal manager's response to those people is that this item will only serve in December, so you will sit without electricity. So what Councillor Manhaba is asking, which I support, because the decision has been taken in the Section 8, is that this item, instead of going to make to the next MECO and in 12th of December, it's brought forward here in a motion of exigency, which is allowed by the rules of council, so that it's actually resolved today. So when we leave today, I then phone Andre Zindlu and Felix to say, those people that contacted you, please phone them to come so that they can actually deal with the issue of explaining their situation. Their situation is considered, arrangements are made when necessary, you reconnect them, they can have electricity immediately as of tomorrow maybe, if the electricians are available. So it's got nothing to do with the TDI. It's about the Bitou principles. As a caring council, you can either defer this decision to the 12th of December, but the implication is that those people are sitting without electricity from now up until the 12th of December. Or you can take a decision now, then you assist those people to have electricity.
Madam Mayor?
I think I don't want to add more because I think we had a lot of discussions around this now, and I'm sure it's fairly understood. However, with the discretion, the installment that must be paid, will it be worked out in terms of affordability? And then also there must be consequences if the customer default. Yeah. So if we just keep to those principles, because we also don't want to send out a message that it's okay to tamper with your box. We don't want people to come after 6 months. Because if I am in my house and I see for 6 months my box is not, I'm not buying. I can't after the 6 months, then I come forward. It is something that you did, where the discretion must come in. Otherwise, we are going to put one blanket egg that will eat and have more small chickens.
So to speak,
Mr. Trapaye?
let me ask it this way. As a municipality, we don't have people that are going to be affected by the 24th of November. That is the cut off. Are we not going to be, because this links, when you don't have electricity, now it was blocked and you were not paying or buying electricity, that means your box was not registered or upgraded. See? So I'm asking, let me ask it that way. I think, have I done something wrong?
I'm also.
Ma'am?
No, thank you, Speaker. Firstly, the point that the Executive Mayor is raising is covered in point 2. First-time offenders. If you're a second-time offender, the policy kicks in and implements, then there's even a possibility of opening a criminal case in terms of that. The TDI process is ongoing. That report indicates 800 and something, don't have exact figure, outstanding. So that process, we are continuing. We did some videos of what councillors, other councillors, to encourage people to do that process. So in terms of that process, we can only encourage and communicate people. It's something that people can do it themselves without an electrician actually going there to punch in so that then it registers correctly. So what is going to happen now is that those people are obviously from Sunday, Monday, come in and say that my box is not working now. I bought electricity, but I cannot punch it in. Then that's where we say that with this rollout campaign, you were supposed to have done this, and then we go then physically to actually assist those people. Our electrical department. I think we've got 800 and something that is still outstanding. As of Tuesday, that's a figure that I got with Andile.
I want to comment on that because I also wrote get the same figure. Then my question was, because in that email that I received back, I did speak to you about it this morning as well. It says that the engineering electrical department, they are of the opinion that they are up to date with the rollout. But they think that the 800 and what number they gave us might be duplications. That's the message I got, which is totally confusing. So I would advise that we really focus on this time before the 4th, on the 24th. 2 days. We have to prioritize the issue. I know there's been a lot of challenges with it. And especially in the former areas with the replacement of the meters, updating into the system, we all know. So we must put in the effort in the next 2 days to educate the communities. We can't just say we think it is a duplication. We need to make sure whether it's duplications or whether it's meters that we need to update, because it's a service delivery issue that's going to affect us
Yeah.
on the ground, and we cannot have 800 and odd meters that we are not sure. So that's the response I received from Mr. Rode. Actually, yesterday morning, I saw the email. I've spoken briefly to the MMJ this morning about it, and I'm also planning, Councillor Kabai, to write an official response on that, because I feel 800 and odd numbers to be unsure of is just not in the interest of service delivery.
Sorry, Executive Mayor. Hey, this thing is being taken lightly.
Yeah.
Engineering department is not coming to the fore. Now, Speaker, I've stolen electricity. I want to stand up because this is agitating me. And then we are not going there. I've stolen electricity. And updating is ending on the 24th of November.
But still.
It says immediately after the 24th of November, it's your responsibility as a poor person that you will pop up 12,000 rand because you must get a new system that is going to your house. Municipality can't pay for you. It has been said on TVs and radios. Now, are we then going to go to those people and say, you've tampered with this box? We are going to open it so that you can buy electricity so as to be able. We will deal you later. The case is we're not going to leave it hanging because we have been tampering with the electricity. But now we are going to get serious cases after the 24th because people are scared to come to the municipality and say, I've tampered with my box. And yet he or she is going to suffer as of after the 24th of November. I don't know whether you get me in this issue. Yeah, I'm fine with that one. I'm fine with that one. It's cases that are understandable, that are going to be looked at. But now we are sending the message to the people that register your meter box before a certain date, that is the 24th. Now other people have tampered it. Unless engineering is saying, we know they have all Bitou members, Bitou people have not tampered with electricity. But I've heard about 800 something. That's a lot.
Yes, I will give you the figure. It's 800.
What are we then doing about that?
Dave?
Thank you, Speaker. Just getting on from what Councillor Gabai said, I'm not sure if in the verification process that our electrical department has been doing, in the portfolio meeting, it was reported that there are about 800 meters that still need to be updated. But most of these meters appear to be either obsolete meters that aren't in use or we can't find them. So in the process that they've gone through to verify all these, I don't know if they've maybe picked up on meters that have been tampered with, that they've noted and have maybe taken action for. I don't know if anyone, if the director maybe has any response on that at all. Because if there are any meters that have been tampered with, that should have been picked up in the verification process.
No,
Let's leave it.
Speaker, the item on the TDI was also in the security committee meeting. So the TDI is it's a two-way process. It's the responsibility of the municipality in educating and communicating with the community, but also equally the community's responsibility to actually try and follow that process. We've done a video. I think the one that was the Councillor Mhlanga that I saw that was circulating. Councillor Mhlanga's video. Your what as well? Yeah, they do one with you. I think no, with Claude. So they did one for Councillor Blanche as well. A few other councillors. So we've got a video that is circulating. I think we were going to finalize other videos yesterday. As in interviews Wednesday, Thursday. So So that process is ongoing. Of that, I take note of the concern about the slow on the engineering side. I think the item is going to serve in the MACO and section 80, because part of what Councillor Chapa is raising with the concern that the mayor raised at that time. The indication was that will be up to date in terms of this process. A recent report now, it indicated 800 and then 826, and the mayor inquired, but if at that time you indicated that will be up to date, why are we still having a huge number? So the response that we have now is there might be duplications in terms of that process. So this item, even if we bring it as a motion of exigency here now, there's nothing much we will resolve on it, because it still depends on the people to punch in those numbers that they need to punch on the item. If it needs to be, we'll monitor the situation and then see Monday, because we're not sending electricians to go and do that. Encouraging and communicating people that they must do it. This is how to do it. But from Monday, I'm sure once we get those people blocked, that's where we then have to send our staff to actually try and resolve and assist those people. Thanks.
Says that the outstanding meters, I believe, is duplications, missing meters and tempered meters. I will remove all those from the system, and people who then experience problems, meters you will have to replace. So will that then mean that people have to go through the process again and then have to go through the whole application of paying for the meter and so forth? And yeah, because that's going to be the challenge.
Director?
Thank you, Councillor Chair. Yes, we just had an explanation for Councillor Swart. Those meters that have been found to be dysfunctional, and we did present. There's found to be meters that have been either physically removed by puzzles, or meters that are duplicated. But there was a lot of reasons that found that 800 actually existed. There was a two-pronged approach. The first one was for the owners to actually punch in their own meters. The second one we actually did on our own. We sent electricians from ward to ward to ward to assist the people to punch in their meters. So we think that it is 100% complete. So we do think there could be one or two that has fallen through the net. But the 800 there is mostly made up of duplicate meters or meters that have been taken out of the house and taken somewhere else because the owner has moved somewhere else. I think they must take the meter with them, not realizing the meter's got to stay with that unit. It is going to be reported to Cocter like that. And it's going to be reversed. It's actually going to show on the system from Cocter's side, we actually have finished to 100%. Next reading that comes out, show 100%. Just like what's happening in the city of Cape Town and other municipalities where they've said 100%. They're doing it the same way as we've done.
So the last question, I know with Eskom have sort of taken this approach, we buy electricity now at this point, and your meter box has not yet been updated, your meter simply won't take the tokens. Then normally they will WhatsApp us or whoever, and then we can go onto the system of Eskom and do the updates. Do we also have that approach? Because they don't give us indication if people will experience problems. If at least 2 days or so before the time, the meter can be not taking the tokens if you have an upgrade meter box. Is that the same approach?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we've got a similar approach. If they're of the 800, we think there's only going to be a band if they experience that problem, and we're going to assist them as fast as possible to get them up and running. But we're going to have electricians on standby if there's one or two that's fallen through. To actually get them either a new meter replaced, or we're going to reset the meter free.
Mr. Simons, you have noted everything down, the changes and everything.
We need a second on this one, Madam Speaker. On this matter of exigency, we need.
No, it's not going on exigence.
Is it not going on?
What now?
No, the tempering of the meters, man, the first one, not the TID.
No, the tempering councillor Manava put the exigence councillor Bill Nell supported,
Yeah.
and then all councillors.
Table.
Table.
Wait to be tabled, Emmy.
Oh, councillor, yeah, Bill Nell is the one that second.
And the seconding it also as.
All councillors are not against.
All right. Now we are in item number 11, which is the in committee. We will ask the officials and the public to excuse us. And also we have two councillors on virtual, which is Councillor Mhlana and Councillor Blanche. They will also be cut off as we are going now to the in committee meeting. Thank you.
Can you cut the public? The public cut? Is the public cut?
Thank you very much, Speaker. Thank you.